let's talk about the following. Let's talk about consequences, okay? Because the average person's watching this, you made a great point. Bitcoin is up, Ethereum is up. I'm talking crypto, then you talk about the stock market. Everything is up, Treasury's up. America looks strong today. America looked pretty good today. America looked like they stood up to the bully today. That's a good thing for him to stand up to the bully today. And by the way, you can watch the whole press conference with the briefing with the president today. Go watch the questions at the end. The whole thing is like 25 minutes, but watch the last 7 minutes, 8 minutes. That's the main part. If you don't have 25 minutes to watch the whole thing, I recommend everybody to go watch the 7 minutes on going back and forth. There's a couple parts that you may want to catch. Is the following question, consequences. Number one, so what do sanctions do? Because everything's got a side effect. If I eat a lot of cheesecake, there's a side effect. If I drink too much Red Bull, there's a side effect. If I gamble my money, there's a side effect. If I fight with my spouse and I, belittle them all the time, there's a side effect. There's side effects to everything, right? Okay. What is the side effect to putting sanction on Russia the way that you did, and you cost 45%? Okay. When we put sanctions on China, it looked good for a month. It looked good for 2 months. It looked good for 6 months. It looked good for 12 months. 128 months of constant, consecutive, expansive months, and then puff, out of nowhere, this thing showed up called COVID. Now, not telling you it's biowarfare conversation, but you pushed the bear, COVID popped out. And it kind of ruined the whole world for about 18 months, threw everybody off. It was a mess. And we're barely coming off of this thing here right now with masks, kids going to school, all this stuff, barely. And we're not even there yet with many of the states, right? We live in Florida. We know Florida, we're not even affected. You don't even feel it. But the rest of the country, Illinois, Michigan, New York, Jersey, California. So what is Russia's specialty? Is it nuclear war? Because they got a lot of nuclear weapons. I think they're number 2 behind US. Would he pull that one off? I don't know. Has that been Russia's specialty? Or is Russia going to play the proxy game? And what is the proxy game? Is it going to be a different strength that they have? One of the strengths Russia has is cyber warfare. So Russia is very good at cyber. Mm-hmm. Listen, many of us know the effects of a biowarfare, if it was a biowarfare, which we don't know if it was a biowarfare. The investigation hasn't yet been done, but I think the tribunal needs to investigate and find out what happened. I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. The government doesn't know. We haven't done the proper investigation yet. We would like to find out what happened there. We haven't gone and done the proper audits, et cetera, et cetera. But do we know what happens if we go through cyber warfare? Has anybody ever had their passwords taken from them? You ever had your Instagram profile where you get an email saying you're about to get verified, you fill out that information, you put your password, boom, somebody takes your account over and asks you for $5,000 or Bitcoin to get your Instagram back? Mm-hmm. Has that ever happened to you? You ever gotten a call from American Express talking about the fact that, hey, let me tell you, somebody is doing fraudulent activities. We put a freeze, and you get that call from 1-800-224, and you know it's Amex? You ever had those kind of calls? You ever had a call like that? And what does it do to your day? You ever had your, Social Security? You ever had somebody take your stuff and go get a bunch of credit cards and spend a bunch of money? You ever had that happen before? How much of a pain in the ass is it? You ever had to go recover and go get a second social or change your social because things got pretty bad? We don't know the effects of a cyber warfare, folks. We don't know it. And Putin's not a guy that they'll move on. Hey, I believe in God and God asked me to forgive and I got to move on. Putin doesn't come across as the guy that's going to go and say, Heavenly Father, shall I forgive President Biden for putting all the sanctions on my people and publicly humiliating me? And he got in the way of me getting Ukraine back, which is part of our motherland. And that's one of our family members, but he got in the way. And I'm determined and convinced that was supposed to happen. And I ask you for forgiveness in advance for what I may do to US and America. None of us know. So we don't know what's going to happen with the consequences. We don't. The best thing that we know is the following. Here's the best thing that we know. Is that NATO is unified. Mm-hmm. EU, for the most part, is unified. And America is not too happy about what he's doing. But the only people that are not, we've heard nothing from China. Nothing. Why? I don't know. So if those two guys are on the same team and the rest of the world says, well, who cares what they want to do? Let them be on the same team. They're not two lightweights. You know how in sports, like allowing Shaq and Kobe to get on the same team. Yeah, it's going to be 3 championships. You can't let a powerhouse like Russia and a powerhouse like China to team up. You ain't just letting the 2 of the most powerful players in the league get on the same team. Let's just say Chicago has Michael, but Lakers have Kobe and Shaq. That's kind of what's going on today. So there are some things that I hope our government, our president, our military leaders are having these types of conversations behind closed doors, and I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're way ahead of the game. We have a very strong military. For the most part, I love this country. Are not willing to sell their souls out to another country like that. But we have to pay very close attention and not be naive about the fact that Putin's not going to sit there and allow somebody to publicly humiliate him. I'm convinced that's not his character.